Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I want to thank everybody who has voted for my Lego ideas. I got three projects. Unfortunately, Lego is pretty picky about your write up for the project and good photos. So I got a few others on the way. But this past week, I hit 100 on my favorite one, the Taipei 101 building. And now I have 398 more days to gather another 900 supporters to get 1,000 for the next milestone. A few projects I have on the way. I got to clean up the writing. But I'm working on the Taipei Grand Hotel, some Mondrian puzzles with Lego pieces, the Cassini Huygens space mission. I'm hoping to have this up. 2027 will mark the 30th anniversary of the launch, and it takes 2 years to get a Lego idea on the store shelves. So I'm hoping I can make the 30th anniversary for that, and a couple of board games made out of Legos. But I have a few ideas that I'm going to be working on next. First, in Taipei 101, at the observation deck, you have this damper that is supposed to protect the building from strong winds, from earthquakes, and potentially, apparently, Taipei 101 supposedly could survive a plane crashing into it. It was built in 2004. Obviously, that was on everybody's mind at the time. And but it weighs 660 tons. I have a theory on what might be hidden in there, though. Officially, the damper is made of steel, but look up how much gold Taiwan supposedly has. It's almost the same amount as the weight of that ball. I suspect it's hidden in there, actually. But I want to build a scale model of the Taipei 101 damper to scale, and it doesn't look very hard considering the geometry of it, but I got to read about the scale. I recently learned that Japan has this weird looking building, obviously very out of place compared to all the other architecture in Japan, made of concrete. I hope to read about the scale of it and build it as close to scale as possible. I don't know why, but recently I just decided to read about what the oldest Motel 6 in the United States is, and looks very beautiful to me, and I'll consider building it out of Legos. I don't know why. It just looks very Lego worthy to me, and since it's the first Motel 6, it might be noteworthy in some way. Now, Ukraine had a nuclear disaster. In 1980, the Soviet Union was going to host the Olympics, and they got really excited about showcasing how well communism worked, and so they started building a lot of apartments to house people. And while doing so, an instrument for measuring rock density containing some radioactive material was lost, and it got mixed into some concrete, and it went into one of their apartment buildings. And over the course of a decade, several residents got sick and died of leukemia before it was discovered. It was actually discovered quite by mistake. In 1986, obviously Chernobyl happened, and so they started screening. When word got out that apartment was cursed, people were dying of leukemia. They thought it was occupationally related, right? Somebody from working at Chernobyl had brought home some material and it was lost in the apartment, and so health officials went to test, and that's when a little vial containing polonium 210 was discovered in one of the walls of the apartment, and so it's become its own. It's almost like its own nuclear disaster. But the building otherwise looks very beautiful to build. So it would be like a memorial of the building of the disaster. Yeah, apparently that building is still there today. When I finally built this out of Legos, I want to find out where the location of that apartment is, because when I finally built that out of Legos, I'm going to actually put a piece of radioactive material where that thing was. So I have an idea of what kind of material to put for that. It's a few quintillion times weaker than the actual stuff in the building. Pretty safe to handle, and it would just act as a memorial to what had happened. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.